Hello everybody, welcome back to Sprueverse, my scale model universe, people of Earth. Welcome to a brand new build. On the bench today we have, oh yes, this is the 1/3/5 scale Batmobile from the Batman. This is a Bandai kit, and I am sort of excited about building a car. I've been in spaceship world for so long that I forgot what a car looks like. So I'm really excited to be building a car, and not just any car, this car, because I don't know, the Batmobiles themselves that were in these sort of films that started coming out, the first one, obviously the Michael Keaton version, and I have to say I didn't know what to think at the time, but I have to say I thought he did a decent job. And of course through the years we've had all kinds of actors playing Batman and different versions of it, and they just got darker and stranger to me personally. So not a big fan of the films, unfortunately. I didn't want them to be cartoonish, don't get me wrong. I do like the fact that it was put in this sort of dystopian world. But I just feel like they didn't know what to do with this character. They just didn't know what to do. So, you end up resorting to, he's dead, he's over, he's washed up. Anyway. Enough of my gibbering. Let's dive in. Let's see what we got in the box here. Now, I don't do unboxings, but I thought it would be fun to sort of figure out what we've got here together. Okay. Lots of screws. And then some instructions. Let's see what we got here. Very Bandai-esque with the instructions. I like that. So you start with the engine, then you go to the frame, and a whole bunch of color instructions too, which I really appreciate. It's kind of unique, which is what I like. I like unique. And it's Bandai, so I'm thinking to myself, how bad can it be? It's Bandai. It's not a big car. It's tiny. It's really interesting. It's tiny. I think there are bigger versions of this, but this is the Bandai version. So it's kind of, and I appreciate the fact that it's kind of tiny. Let's see here. Interesting. All kinds of little details. I mean, Bandai, you get incredible detail and beautiful engineering, and you get this mysterious way they're able to put clear and red and green and blue all on the same tray, and I think I have a suspicion it's all separate and then it's joined together later. No rocket scientist here, just the old observation. I'm going to put this in a little diorama because it's big enough, or I should say small enough, that we can get away with that. Forgive the crunchy noise, the obnoxious crunching noise, I should say, of plastic being ripped open. But, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's fun for us to just do this all together, Okay. Relatively straightforward. Typical fashion, it's tires are rubber or rubberish. I like that. And the engine parts look nice and crisp and clean, which I like. we can have some fun with that. And the hood of this has got some really nice detail on it, so plenty of opportunity to get some shading and some washes in there, and maybe even get some red glow coming through this, and maybe some lights in the headlights. What do you think? Don't know. You don't get no, you don't get a figure, so Batman you ain't getting. But yeah, it looks relatively harmless, he says. Not entirely sure yet what if any sub-assemblies we're going to need, but we're definitely starting with the engine. And let me get some decent sprue cutters here. Look pretty good. And see what we got here. D10 and 11. I haven't built a car in so long. I'm kind of, you know, it's kind of interesting, because I just don't build cars. I build spaceships. But time for us to build a car. Now, there's no flash on this. The detail is incredible. Yeah, and it's obviously it's all plug and play, which is what our friends over at Bandai love. Let's see here. There's the block going together. Yeah, it's very nice friction fitting. You don't get better than this when it comes to fit. So that's good. All right, and then D12. Here's D12. I think I just trimmed off. I'm not sure. I think I just trimmed off. This is what happens when you cut stuff on camera. Yeah, and of course it says do not cut. Now I didn't cut the tabs, but I did cut that end piece. So let me see here. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Now, what I think is always interesting is you get this really nice, you know, squeeze together. It squeezes together, but as you can see, you do get gappage. But since it's underneath, you know, it's like, yeah, you won't really see it, but are you gonna see it? You know what I mean? It's just it's a little buggy-boo of mine, so we'll see here. Okay, I think I'm okay. D7 and D8. Let's see here. Let's see here. 7. Yeah, there's lots of detail on these. There's belts. There's all kinds of stuff to detail out. So you're going to want to do that. I think you're going to want to do that. I want to do that. I mean, let's see here. Okay. Should be a locking key, and there it is. Although the locking key, curiously enough, is underneath. Yeah, sorry about that. So there's a locking key there. That should go over there like that. That satisfying little click you get. And then they want this put on here like that. There we go. Nice. There's no need for glue yet. I'm not going to panic yet. D26 and D25. 26 and 25. Yeah, they go first. So here's 26. And here is 25. Okay. Now, okay, we've got these little slits, and you've got these. So get your orientation correct, and that should. Oh, it does. And so the other one on the other side should just slide in to the same grooves. And everything is hunky-dory. Look at that. It's pretty good. Okay, so now we're moving on to D21 and D22, which they went on later. I love how the higher numbers go on before the lower numbers. I'm not sure who made that executive decision. Let's see here. Okay. So, get the correct orientation, and then let's see here. So, okay, so that would go over here. Hang on. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So see here. This is where I'm embarrassing, because I have to really take a hard look at things to realize where things go. Isn't that embarrassing? It's like, that's how my brain works. Okay. No, it definitely wants to be up there. Let's see here, but there's no hole for it. So am I on the wrong side? Let's see here. Yep. Yep. Isn't this great? Aren't you? I mean, if you just have me turned on in the background, I apologize. Okay, there we go. Don't be frightened. It's okay. It's okay. We'll be okay. All right. Now I know how this works. I can put the other side on. Hilarious. You wouldn't believe I have a college education, which it's a long time ago. Oh, there. Yeah, that's going to require a little bit of glue, I think. Why not? Belts and suspenders, as my dear friend, the great Lou Del Meso says. Boots and suspenders. Belts and suspenders. Can't even get that right. Okay. So, we're building an engine. I'm going to continue building my engine. And I will report back. Okay. The engine went together. So now that needs to be painted and dry brushed and detailed out. So that's one sub-assembly that I'm going to put aside. And then we're going to move on to the frame here. And the frame is sort of interesting because it appears as though it's got some pretty nice articulation going on, and I like that. You can adjust the wheels, but again, I don't play with my models, but I suppose it would be nice to be able to put them in some kind of orientation if you don't want them straight ahead, the wheels. But that's the thing about these kits, you know, when you're dealing with Bandai kits, you get all of this sort of engineering. So I'm going to see what happens now. I've got to put in B8. So here is B8 right here. So I'm just going to take a quick look and see whether or not this is a sub-assembly or this is something I can actually install. So let's get the orientation correct. Let's see what happens. It wants that to sit in there. See here with the box, and I say it wants to sit down in here. Got it. Okay. It's interesting. It's got these two pins that it wants you to just slide in like this. So what I'm looking at here is to see, I guess I'm okay. So I'll be painting in all of this. But the thing is you know, I guess everything is black. None of this is a different color. It's not like it's going to be not that you'd ever see it, but I think the frame is going to be black. There is a little bit of chrome on this, but I don't think it's going to be the frame. So I think I'm okay there. And then it's just got these pinions for the wheels. See here. So that everything connects to the wheels assembly here. Just a little bit in there. Not that you'll ever see it, it's not a big deal, but I like to keep things clean if I can. And it's pointing at, let's see here. Okay, well these are on upside down. Wow. Wow. Okay. So it's a good job I'm not a mechanic. Your car wouldn't run, I'll tell you that much. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. There you go. And then see here. I think these are on the wrong way around. Let's see here, because if you look at this, this is supposed to be yeah, these are on the wrong way around. So how about that? Ah, we figured it out. Look at that. Amazing. Now, if you think this is tragic, you should see me working with Legos. Have you seen these new highfalutin Lego sets? My stepson brought a Porsche home. And it's white, and it's got all of this stuff on it, and I'm going through, and I'm realizing that I'm not colorblind, but the way they color code these things and some of the orientation, even they don't know how to show you a photo of where it exactly goes. Bastards! Okay. So this now drops into here like this. There we go. There she goes. Look at that. Amazing. And let's see here. A16 and C10. This is where the fun begins, where you're jumping from sprue to sprue. You know, God forbid they should put all of the undercarriage on one sprue and the under, you know, the frame on another. No. Why do that? And I'm sure it's for our own entertainment sometimes, but you know, it's like no, don't do that to me. Just put everything where I can find it, so I don't have to play chase the part, because I don't want to. But I know that is sort of in the logic of how these things go together. That is part of it. Okay, get the correct orientation, please. Thank you. And then drop your part in. Let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. That's going to go in the back. Pins in the back. Pins in the back. Okay, so that should go right down in there. And it does. Look at that. All right. And then I need A15. A15. Here she blows. I can't do this and chew gum at the same time. I just can't. So when I stop talking, it's because I'm thinking. And believe me, if you start seeing smoke, you'll know that I'm thinking too hard. Okay. So here's the orientation of this. And here is that little plug that sits there. And it is supposed to just drop in this piece. There it goes. Like that. There we go. And now this is supposed to drop into this piece. Again, paying attention to the orientation. And it drops into this, drops into this little caddy like that. Like that. It's pretty good. Okay. So far, no glue necessary. It doesn't want to pop out. I'm going to drop just a little bit in here. Just a tad. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Hang on. Hang on. There we go. Okay. You want to know why you put a little bit of glue in these things? It's for that reason too. And it's melting the glue quite well. Okay. Looking good. So now I need C9. C9. It would be helpful if I was on the C sprue. Then I could find C9. Just a thought. Boy, that's awfully tight to the side of that tray. Awfully tight. But we're okay. Okay. And so now this drops down onto these 4 pins like that. There they blow. Like such. Very good. Nice and clean. And I'm going to put just a little bit of glue in that, in those little pins there, so it, just in case it wants to pop out. I don't think it does. It's in there nice and tight, and everything appears to be in its correct orientation. Now, so this is an interesting situation. So now it wants this engine to drop in. Let's see how this goes. I see. I see. Okay. All right. Yeah, so I can't put this in just yet. I have to wait now, because that's a sub-assembly. So I've got to get this all painted up and dry brush. So we'll do that. We'll do that in just a minute. Let's see if this is all oriented correctly. And okay, so we will put that on in just a second. We've got this, and then it wants us to now go to the interior. So let me just put this aside for a second, and we'll see what we have to do with the dashboard. I'll be right back. We're getting a little coat of paint now on all of the blacks. I'm gonna play with this and try to get some shading and try to get some contrast here, because it's going to be really difficult. I also want to do some dry brushing here of some steel over it. It's just sort of my rendition of what I think this muscle car, this Batman muscle car, needs to look like. So to that end, I'm trying some new paint here. This is speed paint from Army Painter. I love their washes, but these speed paints, you're not supposed to have to thin them, and I think that's true. This one's called Grim Black. There's a whole range of these. Here, I'll show you what this is, what this looks like here. This is the Grim Black. Now they come in individual pots. They also come in packs too. The thing I like about already is it already has a mixing bowl inside, and it definitely just from the feel of it as I'm putting the brush over it, it feels like it's going on really nicely. I'm going to just get this on a clip so that I'm not playing with it. Yeah, I really like the way this is going on. Yeah, I like that at all. I really like that. Let's see if I can get you up close here so you can take a look at that surface. It's really nice. And what I also like about it is it's drying very fast. It's got a nice kind of drabness to it, and I think this car needs that. So I'm happy with that. And of course these are water-based acrylics, so I'm happy with that as well. Now these have all been primed with a Tamiya rattle can of their fine detail primer. So that's basically what I did, and it's taking this paint quite nicely. They always say that your paint should be mixed to the consistency of milk. Well, this definitely feels like that, but you know, it's like everything else. With that kind of thinness, you got to sort of get it in layers, right? You don't want to go too heavy with this paint, otherwise you won't get a nice result. But it's going on quite wet and shiny, but it's drying quite dark and matte, and I love that. So I think this is very cool. So I got to get a coat of paint on all of this, and we're doing that right now. I'll continue to get everything painted up here, and then we'll come back. And we'll start looking at assembly, some dry brushing on the engine, and trying to put this together. Now we're also going to put this on a little diorama too, and I've got some fun things I want to play with. I've been watching some videos on some different surface preparations and some different materials to use. So I'm going to share that with you, and we'll put this on a concrete road, but it's all going to be cracked and there'll be grass coming up through it. Really fun. I did pull a 12 by 12 panel for the base, for the diorama, but I'm not entirely sure that's what I'm going to use yet, because as we know, space is at a premium, and this is it's got a lot of detail, and it's a large, I mean, it's going to be large enough, but it's smaller than I had hoped it would be. I would have liked it to have been a little bigger, but hey, you know, this is what you get, so this is what we're going to deal with. But we're definitely going to put this on a diorama. Don't think I'm going to light it. Don't think I am. I wanted to put some lights in the headlights and maybe some stuff inside, but don't think so. Don't know. Probably not. It's like, Phil, for the love of God, man, then don't light it. All right. Okay, everything has a coat of paint. Now I'm just picking away at some details and doing a little bit of dry brushing. I've dry brushed the hubs here, ready for tires. I've been putting some gray wash inside the cabin where I'm not going to be able to reach it later. And I'm also now putting just a little bit of my display paint pen on the just on these foot pedals, and then we'll age that all down appropriately once it all dries out, but just to get it going. And then once everything else is dry, we'll come back through and we'll touch all of that up. But you know, the things that you can't reach, you kind of just go through now and you start picking away at things. And also just highlighting some things and changing some things just to sort of get some contrast on everything. I've started to put washes on the engine, and I'll continue to work on that as well as we sort of build it, because these are sort of like, these are the things you got to get done if you want really super details. Before you start putting it together, you got to do it. So I'm going to let these washes dry, and then we'll clean all of that up, and then we'll come back and we will continue to work on all the details. I've got some knobs and things that I have to put into the control onto the control surfaces, and I might put maybe a little red or some, try to get a little bit of color inside the cockpit, but muted, very muted. And all of a sudden this thing will start to come together. Now as I'm doing this, I have been looking at the front bumper and these two glass pieces that represent the headlight. Now there is room to put some pico in there, but then it's got a, where is that wire ultimately going? I'm not sure. It's diminishing returns, so I'm hesitating. I'm not going to do any of the dry brushing of the steel exterior until everything is together, so I can get a nice blend. But all of a sudden, this is starting to come together. A little bit of dry brushing going on here. So just to sort of get the last of the engine pieces popping. I really like putting down the black first because it really makes everything just explode. So that's pretty cool. Got the dashboard looking good here. Trying to get a little bit of weathering on that before it goes bye-bye. That's looking pretty good. I think I'm ready to start actually assembling some things. I know that the seat can go in. Let's see here. That's looking pretty good. Happy with that. And I know I've got some other pieces that need to go in here. I've got, let's see, I've got, looks like I've got some handles that I need to get in now. Just looking to see where all this goes. Got, just want to make sure I've got all these pieces. This has gone in. The steering wheel can go on the dash. Let's see here. Here's the steering wheel. Okay. And then there is, I don't think there is there anything else? Let's see here. There's a handle. Yeah, this knob here can go down here. It's got a, it's got like a triangle thing. Like it goes. Slips in there like that. There we go. That's in. And then there's one more piece. It's this little gear lever that drops in right here, like that. That's pretty good. Okay. And then the dash itself just drops into this crack piece right here. I think that's correct. I don't know if that needs to go back any further. I don't know how much further that needs to go back, but I think that's pretty good. I'm not sure about the angle yet on this. Oh, I'm seeing a little schmutz here. It's not that that's going to be seen. It's just that for fit purposes, you want to make sure that you've got everything where it should be. There might be a little bit of adjustment here, but that's okay. Okay, it wants the, so that's good. Let me pull the chassis again, because it wants this engine mounted in the chassis. So let's see here. Get my orientation correct. There we go. That in. Okay. And then there's some plugs. There are these little plugs here. It wants to go on these ends like that. I'm thinking to myself, can you only imagine the noise in this compartment. I'm trying to think of. I've sat in my fair share of muscle cars, and let me tell you, holy moly. Okay. Yeah, you got to make sure everything is in. It's all a little. It feels a little. It doesn't feel solid. It's kind of, but it's that's okay. That's okay. It's tiny. Okay, and it wants. Let's see here. Did I do? Oh, I see. Okay, I'm gonna have to carefully push those in, I think. Let's see here. Let's see. Does it connect to? Just want to make sure I've got the connection point right. See here. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about that connection point. It's kind of wonky. That's because it's supposed to go up. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay, she's in. She's in. And I gotta do the same on the other side here. Get that in. Like that. Okay. Now what's interesting is as you look at it, there is like a little tap right there, but they're not. They are sitting down on it, so I should be okay. And then that looks correct. And then it wants this piece to sit down over those wheels. I can see that there. Let's see here. Let's see. You can see where that wants to sit. Like that. Okay. That looks correct. Okay. Now we're going to start making it look like a car. Oh, see, I've got a little bit of cleanup to do there before I continue. So I will do that right now. And I'm noticing that this isn't sitting down nicely. This has got to... Oh, 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 oh. Okay. I'm going to fiddle with this so I don't snap anything. But we'll put this together, and that'll be the basic chassis. And then we'll put on the final elements together as well. Okay, I'm just doing a little test fitting here. You can see that my doors, it's interesting, the way this is designed, it's all supposed to sort of clip together, but there is definitely some fiddling, and you do have to be careful, because what I'm noticing is that, and I don't think it's a paint issue, it's just a fit issue. And I can see that right here. I can see that it's fighting with me. This is supposed to go on there like this, and it's on. And I've got some touching up to do, which is fine. I expected that. But it does fight you a little bit. I mean, you can't... It is fiddly. It's not the easiest thing in the world. If you've never put one of these together before, it is fiddly. Now, the nice thing about the way these are designed is you can pressure fit things, and then if something's not correct, you can kind of push it out. So, you know, and I'll sort of, as it all comes together, you start to see what needs pressure treating and what doesn't. So I'm sort of just now. It's interesting because you go from the sort of the dark pre-assembly to what is their sort of final assembly, and you start to see how things all, you know, are sort of coming together. The next thing it wants you to do is it wants you to drop on this roll cage at here, and so you can see here now. This probably what I'll probably do here is just get a little touch of glue on this once I see how this comes together. But it does take a little bit of it is fiddly, and it's interesting how it does fit. Everything fits, but it's just a little it's hard to explain. It's like you know, everything has its place, but you can see how if the frame isn't in correctly, that you're just sort of just struggling with it. And that's where I am now. I'm struggling. I can get the front pieces seated nicely, but the rear pieces don't want to sit nicely. Now, usually that's operator error, and the frame isn't, it's telling me that the frame isn't seated correctly. So what I've got to do is I've just got to sort of go through here and see where things are not lining up and get them to line up. And that could take me a little bit. And then it's one of those pieces that it needs some glue. So it is going together. I can see it. It does, but it's not seated nicely. It's not. It's some resistance, and when you have resistance like that, that tells me it's operator error, and I've got to do something, because these are so beautifully engineered that I just need to go back and figure out, you know, where my engine is not seated correctly. I can sort of see it, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play with this for a few minutes so that I don't waste everybody's time. But I can see it's not seated nicely. Whoop. So that's what I'm going to work on now. Okay, everything is touched up and on, and the inside of this looks really cool. I'd like to see if I could at least get a quick glimpse of the inside of this before it all goes away. But yeah, got some nice dry brushing, nice details, some nice washes in there, looking really good. And I've done a little bit of dry brushing here to the top. I didn't use too much. I used just a little bit of my duraluminum. This is the Vallejo metal colors. I really like that for dry brushing. And so what I've got to do now is I've got to get the glass in this thing, and it, you know, it actually it drops in here quite nicely. Actually, I don't think there are any really issues, and I don't even think it's going to need any glue, to be honest with you. So we just put it down and pop it, and I don't think you can hear it, but there's a definitive click, and that's on, and I've got just a little bit of a smudge there. See if I can't get it. Put it on my shirt. I'm using there. That's gone. Okay, so that's going to drop on quite nicely. That drops on here like that. It's open quite a bit, so there isn't an awful lot of lack of visibility. I mean, you can definitely see into it. What I'm looking at now is how this clicks into place, because it's not that there are fit issues, but it's a little wonky, and I'm trying to determine if I sort of click that into place, which I certainly can do here, and if I'm going to click this into place, it's like, how permanent is that? It's pretty permanent, I would imagine. Just finding where it drops. There. It feels pretty good. This side doesn't necessarily want to drop in. There, it did go in. I did feel it click. It's interesting. Okay, that side's in. There we go. Okay. I'm always worried about putting too much pressure on these kits. So you. I've had this thing where it's like I put pressure on it and the whole thing goes and explodes everywhere. But without applying a little bit of pressure, you don't really have a choice. I mean, you got to get it all kind of snug, and it's designed to be snug. But anyway, that's looking really good. I'm really happy with that. All things considered, it's a decent looking car. Very decent. Now, it's got no dry brushing on it yet, so I'm going to be working on that. No, I did not light the thing. I'm not going to. I'm just not. I'm not into it that much. I like the Batman worlds to a certain extent. I can appreciate the production design. We've all got our thoughts about which films worked for us and which ones didn't. I'm not gonna debate that because I always lose. But yeah, it's it's always cool to play in other worlds. Now, I've painted sprayed the rubber tires with some of my rubber black, my Tamiya rubber black. But I think I'm gonna get a little gray wash in these tires just to give them a little oomph. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these out of here and then get them on the tire, so I don't have to be putting fingers on my fingers on everything, because that's classic me. Is I would finish something and then I'm handling it and I'm not aware of what I'm touching and I get fingerprints, and that's classic, right? And I think it's one of the first things, I mean, not that this is going to Wonderfest, but I know it's one of the things judges look for when you show them a model. Got any fingerprints on that, bub? Okay, so let's see. The large tires get the large wheels. And that looks like that's the way in with the oh, that looks nice. Very nice. Very, very nice. And I've dry brushed those already. I just haven't put any wash on those. I'm gonna do that now, but I'm gonna get the rest of these. I'm gonna see here. Let's get this one in. Really appreciate the fact that the tires are rubber. I really like that. I think that's a great touch. I can't stand plastic tires. I mean, we make the most of what we're given, right? Unless you're going to source something else, but whoop, there we go. Those are looking good. And then let's just get these in. Very nice. And this will be the last one. I've got a little bit of schmutz here. Oh, this little tab here. I'm just noticing. There. Okay. This one in. Nice. So there are my tires. So now I think what I want to do is I want to pull out my gray panel liner here. This is the Tamiya panel liner, and just get a little gray wash on these. And I think that'll pop these just a little bit. It's not going to do too much, but it'll be enough to where I think it'll make a difference here. You're not going to see a lot of this, but it's just sort of an added detail that I think is worth doing, just to give it a little added oomph. And then if we've got too much on the face of the tire here, we'll take that off with a little Q-tip and some enamel. But yeah, we'll let that dry. I think it's going to make a big difference. Big difference. Because there's not a lot of color here, and you've got to kind of give it some interest. Now I haven't dry brushed any of the metallic sort of. I'm going to do that next once I get these tires on. But I think the wash makes a difference, and it adds a sort of that sense of dustiness, you know. So I like that a lot. We'll get this one done. We'll see how these come out, but I think this will make a huge difference. Now I can also do a little bit of dust with some pastels as well, which I will probably do as well. But yeah, I'm really liking this detail. There we go. A little bit won't hurt on the. Now that's going to work a charm, I think. Those are really nice. Okay, I'm going to leave my gray pin wash out because I have a feeling I'm going to need it on other things. That's good. Okay, so I'm just going to set those aside to just set up and dry, and then those can be installed. I've got this roll bar here that has to go on. Let's see here. I'm just looking to see. Oh, well done, Phil. That's okay. All right. Got this roll bar that has to go on, so I've got to look at that next. It's just a little roll bar sort of action here. These little bars here, they extend out. There's only one way they can go in, so that's good. So they get to pop in. So I'll do that in a minute, because what I'll do is I'll get everything on that I need to get on, and then I'm going to hit it with some clear. Probably I'm going to do a matte on this, I think, and then we'll come back and see what else we need. But I think it's all there, bar the shouting. It's looking pretty good. Let me see something here. I'm just noticing on this here, where the hood sits down on this panel. It doesn't want to sit nicely. See if you can see this. Do you see this gap right here? My fingers look awful. I really apologize. I've been in chemicals and I should be wearing gloves. I've been using paint. I haven't cleaned my fingers, so please, I apologize for the fingers. Yeah, do you see that? Let me see if I can hit it with a little more light. There we go. That gap is not correct. It shouldn't be like that. It should be flush. But it's interesting. I don't really want to apply any more pressure to it, and I don't want to get any glue under there. Although I certainly could put some glue under there and then hold that down. We'll see. Okay, next thing to happen here is I'm going to see, what am I going to do? I'm going to get the back tires on, and I'm going to, once they're clean, I'll get the back tires on. Oh, I've got these little headlight pieces that have to go in here. So let's see here. The clip for these is there. Let's see here. Okay. I can see that flying across the room. I'm going to do that off camera. All right, let me get those in. Let me get the roll bars in, and then I think we'll do. We're going to do a little dry brushing here on this, I think. Now, I'm realizing that I think I've got to pull this top off again. I'm going to pull this top off again because I got to pop this windshield. I'm going to pop this windshield, and then I'm going to do my dry brushing before I finish, so that I can get a nice so that I can get a nice finish on the top here. Otherwise, I'm struggling with it. So I'm gonna make sure I do that. I'm gonna get this get this ready here in just a sec, and we'll do maybe we'll do a little dry brushing, and we'll start to see this come alive. That might be fun. And then by that time, I think the tires will be ready to get on, and we can start doing some final details to this, and then we can move on to the base, because I'm gonna have a little fun with this display base. Okay, we're doing a little bit of dry brushing here, and I'm being very subtle here at first, because can always add more. Difficult to take away, but so far that looks pretty good. And I'm using the duraluminum. That's easy for you to say, duraluminum. And as I said, I'm trying to be subtle. I don't want to be too crazy here, but oh, that's good. Because what you don't want it to look like a brush stroke. You want it to look like some chips and some dragging, right? So that's what I'm attempting to do here, while trying to get some detail out of this this top, because it needs it. It's beautiful and it deserves it. We don't have to go crazy, but wherever you've got these raised surfaces, it wants to, yeah, that's very good. It's very good. It wants a little bit of something, and I think that's making a huge difference. And I think you'll see when we add the top that we haven't gone crazy. Don't want to go crazy. I just want to sort of add some dimension to this, and some depth to it, and really sort of pick out the parts that I think would wear. I mean, obviously it goes into battle, so it's not going to be perfect. And of course, the drier the brush gets, sometimes the better the effect. You get some amazing subtle things happening and you don't know it. And subtle is good. Okay, come around the back here. Okay, I'm going to add a little more, I think. Get most of it off, and then that will allow me to do a little bit of chipping right there. Just a little bit there. Good. Trying to be careful. I don't want to go crazy here. Around the engine I can see a little bit more wear. But again, you know, trying to keep it in scale. A little bit on the back here. That's good. Oh, I think that's pretty good. A little bit here around the frame. Sort of looks a little more like chipping than anything else, actually, which is a good thing. very good. Okay. So, okay, let me get a little Q-tip here and some enamel spirits. Let's get these tires cleaned up just a little bit before we pop them on, because otherwise I like the dustiness of that. I think that's going to work out really well. Let's see here. Don't need to take too much off. I'm going to be happy that I've got some marking on here, but the gray is just a little intense. So I'm just pulling that down just a little bit, but I do like the fact that you can see the tread lines. I think that's good. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Very good. This one, just get the tread walls cleaned up just a little bit. Like that. Okay. All right, that's good. Okay, well, I think we're ready for our brake liners that connect to our they all look to be the same, so yeah. Now I know that looks a little stark, but the truth is, once the tire's on, you don't see anything, so I'm just not sure. It's a little bit of diminishing returns there, you know. But the last two here. Put these on. It should allow me to get the tires connected. Boy, I just can't say enough about these Bandai kits. There is something to be said for the fun factor because of how easy they are to go together in terms of, you know, the sort of the engineering of it all. So, and I do appreciate that aspect of it. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. And then I'll get that one on. I love the fact that the front wheels, you can turn them. That's pretty impressive. One Batmobile. No waiting. Looking really good. Looking really snazzy. Okay, so there we go. We have a Batmobile, ladies and germs. Now, let me just get that out of the way and bring in what I think is my base here. I think this is sufficient enough because remember, this is Mrs. Spruverse friendly. Okay, So, oh, I forgot to put on my windshield wipers. How could you let me forget to put on my windshield wipers? Now, what I'm going to do, actually, is I knew there was a reason why I didn't put my dry brush away. I'm going to put a little bit of dry brushing on my windshield wipers. Or as my son used to say when he was 2 years old, wimple wipers. That's right. Wimple wipers. Very good. Adds just a little bit of punch so that you can see what you got. Nice. Okay. Let me see if I can, with the magic of incompetence, see if I can't get those to drop in here. Let's see here. I think that's right. Yeah. Put the other one in there. That, get it on the windshield. Now that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. I think it wants to go that way, doesn't it? No, because then they extend out wrong. All right. Well, I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of notes about these windshield wipers, and I'm not gluing them in, so if I've done them wrong, I can turn them around. And I'm sure you guys will tell me. But the problem is if you do it the other way, it extends off the windshield. So this appears to be the only way they can go on. What do I know? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself put some stuff together here, and we're gonna create a little, just a mini kind of concrete road. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. It's a fun technique with a little bit of grass, and I'm going to get this prepped because I want to get the edges of this blackened out. So I'm going to do that, get my stuff together, and we'll finish up this diorama, and we can put this Batmobile to we can put it in the back cave, park it, hang the keys up, and go into Wayne Manor and see if we can't get ourselves a cup of tea. Okay, back in a sec. Okay, people, it's arts and crafts time. And what I'm going to do is create just a little bit of a sort of it's an interesting sort of concrete floor. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use these little cork squares. Now you can get these on Amazon, and they are 4x4 cork squares, and they've got an adhesive back to them, and you can actually lay them down. But what I'm going to do is, and I've cut these into sort of an interesting shape, right? So that they're not perfect, but it looks like a little bit of road, and so when the Batmobile is parked on it, you'll get a little bit of that, and we'll pick out some grasses and do some things like that. But I thought it would be fun to do this because, once again, it's one of those things where I've watched this done, but I've never done it, and so I want to see if this works. Of course, if it doesn't work, we'll chuck it out and we'll just put it on the turntable and call it a day. But I think we're going to be okay. Okay, so what we do is before I take the sticky back off and glue these down, what I want to do is I want to add this. I'm using concrete from AK. This is what I'm using. That's what I'm using. Now, a lot of you out there are going to be rolling your eyes and going, Phil, why did you spend the money? All that is a bunch of sand and some acrylic paint and a little bit of PVA glue all mixed together. And you don't have to spend the money on this. And you know what? You're absolutely right. You can do that. I like this because when I want to pull it off the shelf and do something with it, I don't have to search for big other things. I've got it all in one place. But this is not the end-all, be-all to anything. And I'm not paid to use these products. I'm just showing you what I use. Okay. Here we go. Got some goop, and we're going to put the goop on. And we're going to let this get this in like this. Get it into the pores. I'm going to do this to all of them. Make sure it's in good. Like this. And go with the grain, whichever way you want to go. I'm going this way. It's on perfectly, and you end up with that. So I'm going to paint all of these up, and when they're dry, that's when the next step here is going to happen, because I'm going to break them, bend them, and get them to crack when they're dry, and we're going to use that to our advantage. I think it's going to look pretty cool. At least I think it'll look cool. Okay, so let me get all these done. Let me get them to dry, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, our panels have dried, and so what we're going to do now is we're going to apply them to our our base here, and we're going to sort of go along here, and we're going to figure out what we need. We've got two of those. I need to cut those. But so what we've got is we've got these wonderful cork panels that we've painted with our AK interactive concrete, and now we're ready. They're dry, and now we're ready to put them down. So what I want to do is I want to just distress them a little bit. So the way I do that is I'm just going to sort of break it so that I get these deliberate cracks in the concrete like that, and we get this wonderful cracking look. And so when we go to put some weathering down on here, it's really gonna pop. So I'm gonna peel that. The backing on these is super it's super gluey, so that's good. So I'm going to lay that down, and when we go to put the oil stains down and clean this up, those cracks are going to they're going to pop. So I'm going to do one here, one more, really quite deliberate cracks there, and then maybe one that way too, like that. There we go. And then I'm gonna peel the back off. These are really fun. You can put them on walls too. They'd be great for walls. Okay, so we'll get that down. And we'll put this one, gets a crack, go all the way across, and maybe there, like that. And we'll get that in here, like that. So we get the double whammy. We get the concrete lines and we get these cracks. Now they're not appearing very well on camera at the moment, but I promise you that they're working really well. Okay, I forgot to cut this one, so I'm gonna do that now. And let me just stick this down. And we're going to put some grasses around here, so I'm not too worried about this being perfect, but I like the idea that it's, you know, it's looking a little tatty. That's a good thing. Okay. So there we go. So we've got our concrete, and you can start to see, I mean, if I put the car on this, even if we left it like that, it's starting to pop, but we've got some work to do now. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of just clean up this edge here, because we don't need that. That's good. And make sure we're nice and flush, which we are. So what I want to do now is I want to just start to get some oil stains on this and some other stuff. So I'm gonna pull some washes for this, and but before I pull the washes, I want to get some tufts of grass and things like that. I've got this wonderful stuff here, which we just put down with PVC glue. There's all kinds of stuff you can use, and it's got this sort of this sticky back to it, but you can just use glue. You can just use glue if you want to, but you can start to sort of figure out where you're going to add your elements, your grass elements here, and so perhaps, you know, this corner here, don't know, just sort of laying it all down now, just to sort of see what I need. Might even need smaller tufts so that it's not as, so like something like that. That's pretty good. Kind of liking that, and I like the idea it goes off the edge, so we might even do that like there. And I can use, I've got some PVC glue here that I keep on the table, and I can use a nice big brush, get in there, and sort of make that permanent over there in that corner. I like the idea that it's sort of falling off the. I like the fact that it's kind of falling off the side there. I like that, and then maybe we'll put this one here like this. And of course, this PVC glue, it's going to dry. It's going to dry clear. So let's get that there, like that. Looking pretty good. I've got an edge I can put over here. Let's see here. Let me pull another piece here and get that on that edge like this. Well, that's good. That's good. And then even a little bit running along the edge here, so like it's growing in the cracks. That's sort of fun. Let me do that. So put it there, and then get my knife, and I can push that down use the back of the knife and push that down like that, and you've got it growing out of the crack. That's pretty good. I don't think I need too much more, because I think if we, yeah, okay. I do like that crack though. I think I might go ahead and do one more of those, like here. That might be fun. Let's see here. And just take the back of my knife and push that down like that, so you get that effect. I like that a lot. Okay, you can go overboard. You don't need to. I'm going to get some stains on this. I'm going to let this sort of settle in. And let me brush off these. Let me get some stainage on here and age this down appropriately. And I think that'll look pretty cool. Okay. So let me pull some oil stains and some other stuff that we can drop on here and play with that. So let me grab that. Just putting some oil stains down, just some drippage. Kind of fun. Very random. And it's just it's really it's your, you know, it's entirely up to you how you want to do things. There's no rhyme or reason here, and there's no hard fast rules about how any of this is done. So I've just got a few things. I've got oil stains. I've got I've got engine fuel oil here, and I've got this wonderful, you know, rain effect here, which I'm going to use. So there's no hard and fast. And if I can see the cracks, and I'm just going to play these along those cracks that I created, and just let these stains kind of just do their thing. And there's no rhyme or reason to this. It's just really to add some texture to the concrete, which wouldn't be it just wouldn't be one color, right? It'd be different colors. And so when you start to add some of these effects, you'll see that it just starts to all blend together, and that's a good thing. And so what I'm going to do now is, after I've put down a sufficient amount of this, is just come back and just start to kind of just see what needs to be played with and that sort of a thing. Now I'm using this kind of in a rather bold way here. You can also use these just to gently drag down model kits and stuff like that. But I mean, since the car takes up most of this, and a lot of it is will sort of disappear, it starts to kind of just all blend together, and that's a good thing. And so I've got a few more of these engine oil, these oil stains here, which I like. And because concrete, don't forget, you know, it's dirty. It's not clean. It's not perfect. And so this gets drabbed on, and I think you'll start to see how this really starts to take shape and all blend together. And that's the idea, is that you don't want it to be perfect gray. It's not it's like if I do my Jurassic Park when I do my Jurassic Park diorama, this is a perfect gray to add to that plastic kit, if any of you have it. But for this effect, what I'm trying to do now is just kind of create a palette. and it'll really all start, and it is all starting to kind of come together. And get it around the grass. And I think you'll see here that it really does work. It really all sort of comes together, and that's really what you want. You want the surface to. Now, interestingly enough, if any of you are interested, you know, the Zuke Mora team have built, or they build these wonderful little circles for planes that you just buy them. They're pre-finished and you just put your model on them. I've got a bunch of those, and they actually are really cool, because if you've got like one of those little kits that you don't really want to go to town on, or you don't have time, or you're not interested in building a diorama for it, you just go ahead and you can use those, and they work really well. So there you go. That's my floor. Now, if you were here in the studio, this would look really cool. I don't know what it looks like on camera. You may all be throwing up, but that's okay. That's okay. Let me just make sure that I'm good to go here. So that's nice and clean. Yeah, this is taken to this quite beautifully. Okay. So there is my base. Now it's all looking a little weird perhaps to you, but not to me here in the studio. So we're going to just let this dry, and we'll put the Batmobile on, and we'll do some beauty shots, and I think that's it. I think we're there. So I'm going to set this aside, give it some time to dry, and then we'll come back. We'll do some beauty shots, and we'll have final thoughts. A fun build. Maybe 3 days, 4 days to do it. If you were going to sort of go straight through, if you were going to take your time, you can take a year. It makes no difference to me. What I'm most concerned about is that you've got something on your bench, even if you have 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day. Please, this hobby is just, it means something to me. It really does. Every day I'm out here, I'm blessed, and I'm blessed for my subscribers, but I'm more than grateful if you would at least pull something off the shelf, open that box. Even if you're pulling, you're looking at the instructions and you're cleaning a few parts up and organizing it, get something going, you'll feel good about it, and I'll feel good about it. So here we are. What we're building, or what we built, I should say, is the 135 scale Batmobile from the movie The Batman. And this is a Bandai kit. It's it's not as large as I thought it would be, but it's a really nice size. So here are some beauty shots. If I was going to do any more, it would probably be to get a little bit of masking tape and go around that windshield just to finish it off. I think it'll make a huge difference to this kit. But I did a little bit of dry brushing. We put some oil stains down. We played with some caulk and finishing. And I think it's a nice way to display this kit. It's not a big, doesn't take up a big area, but I think it looks really nice finished. And in person, I promise you, it does not look like a toy. I think sometimes my photography makes things look like a bit of a toy, but hey, I'm not complaining. I'm just grateful that I had an opportunity to build this with you, and it goes together really well. It's got no fit issues. If there are any issues at all, they're all of the human kind. But I think at the end of the day, it's a really, really nice presentation of the Batmobile. And if you've got this in your stash, get it out and build it, because it is definitely worth it, and it does not take up a lot of space. In fact, you could even go crazy with it if you wanted to put it in a cave, in a bat cave. If you wanted to put it on a Gotham street with some trash, any one of those ideas would definitely do justice to this kit. And there you go. That's it. The Batmobile. Thank you all for following me, and I love each and every one of your comments, good or bad. I greatly appreciate it. Here, this shop, we are learning. We are not professional model makers here. We do not claim to be. And any of the tips that I give you are things that I'm learning along the way. Most of my advice, it's marginal. But it's what I'm learning. And every day I come to this bench, I feel like I'm getting better and better, and my skills are getting stronger and stronger. And that's a good thing. And the more you're on the bench, the more comfortable you are with paint and glue and assembly, and all the various different things that we need in our arsenal in order to not only build something but to enjoy the hobby. Hey, if you want to get a hold of me, I'm spruverse@gmail.com. You can follow my usually daily Instagram posts. I'm Spruverse. Occasionally TikTok and occasionally Threads, but But anyway, there it is. Next thing up, I think, is going to be really fun. I'm going to go back into the world of Jerry Anderson, I think. So join me for that. But as always, please, I wish all of you be safe, be well, build something, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.